After 1 year of ranking legacy character finishers in the Mortal Kombat series, it's finally time to talk about the most requested group of characters. That being the forgettable one-timers. That being the Cyber Ninjas, consisting of Cyrax, Sektor, Smoke, and with the new era, Sub-Zero, Frost, and Triborg. This list has been a long time coming and has been requested since I started this series. After all this time, we're going to rank all 22 of the Cyber Ninjas finishers from the worst to the best.
Fight!
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. My name is Nick, and welcome to, or welcome back to the channel. If you haven't done so, consider clicking the subscribe button to join the Whack Pack today, stay tuned for some more Mortal content, and to avoid being cyberized against your will. Today, we're covering the Cyber Ninjas, a staple in the Mortal Kombat series since Mortal Kombat 3. These characters have been adored by fans from their cool designs, amazing gameplay, and their memorable fatalities, each of which will be ranked based on its creativity, pacing, impact, and personality. Here are the ground rules for the robots. Rule number 1, no brutalities will be included. Rule number 2, Mortal Kombat Armageddon finishers will not be included as well. And rule number 3, recreated finishers will be included as their own entry in this list. Since many games do something different with the classic finishers, for better or for worse, each will count as its own on this list. Also, you may notice Cyrax and Sektor previously had their own episodes, which you can check out over here once you're done. That being because I wanted to cover more information in their respected episodes. With characters like Triborg and Frost, who have only one appearance, I'll discuss more about them in this episode. Also, since Smoke's venture as a robot and human hasn't been covered yet, he'll get more of an in-depth analysis in his own episode. I wanted to get that out of the way first before breaking all of these down. Alright, with that, let's assemble and rank all 22 of the Cyber Ninja fatalities. So, what is the worst Cyber Ninja fatality? Number 22. Time to visit Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 to find out what the worst Cyber Ninja finisher is. We've seen loads of unique finishers from this title with mixed results, but this one can be considered the biggest misfire.
Fatality.
Coming in at the bottom spot is Smoke's Grenade. Honestly, this is the biggest WTF. That being where's the fudge fatalities in the series. You have a robot named Smoke, and with everything he's capable of doing in Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, you resort to dropping a grenade down the opponent's mouth? This has to be the worst Cyber Ninja fatality of all time. Like the grenade, it's just a bomb. Number 21. Sticking on topic of explosions, we move on to Mortal Kombat 4, which is the series' first step into the third dimension. With numerous finishers being remade for this title, many were massive stinkers, including one of Cyrax's classics. Taking the 21st spot is MK4's Self-Destruct. As mentioned in the Cyrax episode, this one just comes off as less energetic than the original version. From the weird animation of punching the explosion code into his wrist, to the pacing, there's a lot to pull apart like pulled pork. In the last episode, I mentioned this was the weakest of Cyrax's finishers, and it's also one of the weakest Cyber Ninja finishers as well. Number 20. Speaking of duds, we're moving on to a cool concept, no pun intended, but not sticking the landing. That being Cyber Sub-Zero. As a Sub-Zero fan, I thought this was a cool idea, but it kind of fell apart in the execution for me. And with the Mortal Kombat What If scenario, we were given a finisher that surprisingly lacks impact. Taking the 20th spot is Cold Fusion. Not to repeat myself too much from the Sub-Zero ranking, this finisher seems off. Now we have seen some self-destruct finishers done by the other robots, but this one surprisingly comes off as one of the weaker ones. The explosion isn't super flashy, and it lacks a lot of gore too. Now, since I've released a Sub-Zero episode, I heard many people in the comments mention that Sub-Zero intended to kill himself too, which I can somewhat understand, but I still think it's weird for the honor-bound fighter. Honestly, I would have rather seen a different execution. Number 19. Pressing on, we're looking at one of the secret fighters from Mortal Kombat 4, Sektor. With his rush development and the direction of MK4's finishers, we didn't get to see much innovation on a classic from MK3. Instead, it came off as more of a bomb. Number 19 is the 3D version of the Compactor. Yet again, another odd remake of a classic. Instead of having the opponent getting crushed with some paste, the opponent explodes when being crushed, because that makes sense. With the 3D technology, this finisher could have looked amazing, but they made the body go boom instead. It's pretty underwhelming if you ask me. Like a sad compactor, it's pretty depressing. Number 18. Speaking of rushed and odd finishers, we're not finished looking at Sektor's appearance in Mortal Kombat 4. Following the trend here with another classic Sektor finisher. With the rush development and not understanding the 3D tech at the time, we have another awkward execution.
Sektor wins. Fatality.
At number 18, we've got the Flamethrower remake. Though this is nearly identical to Scorpion's Toasty finisher from the same game, the reason it gets placed lower for me is the rush development leading to the inconsistent performance. Though it may lack in innovation, it does include some unintentional hilarity.
Sektor wins.
Number 17. Time to close out a game with low-tier finishers, Mortal Kombat 4, by checking out Cyrax's second fatality.
Cyrax wins.
Placing the 17th spot is Cyrax's version of World Destruction. Though this is a stolen finisher from Smoke in Mortal Kombat 3, I still find it to be an okay finisher at the end of the day. Even with it being a borrowed fatality, I still find this interpretation to only be okay at its best. Number 16. As we move into the rest of these finishers, this is where things get much better, and I consider these to be good fatalities. With that, it's time to turn up the heat. Taking the sweet 16th spot is the Flamethrower from Mortal Kombat 3. We've seen 3 finishers where the opponent burns to a crisp, and it's great to see Sektor do it with his own flair. There's not really a whole lot to say about this one, it's just simple and to the point. Number 15. Mortal Kombat 3 has been known for straying from the darker finishers in previous titles to focus on wacky and zany finishers. To say that this next finisher is weird is quite the understatement. Why? Well, here's why. Flying in at 15 is Helicopter Spin. Now, I've criticized some of these weird finishers, but this one is so strange but fitting for Cyrax. With the ability to detach his body to become more useful than TDK in the Suicide Squad by actually inflicting some major damage. Though this is strange, I can see why some are a big fan of this fatality. Number 14. Let's close out the Mortal Kombat What If scenario, Cyber Sub-Zero. With his first finisher being a pretty disappointing and underwhelming explosion, this one is quite innovative in the presentation department. Taking the 14th spot is Brain Freeze, named after slurping your Slurpee too fast, but without the shurikens to the head, which is honestly a pretty accurate portrayal of what it feels like to get one. It's a creative take to see the X-ray feature to be used in a fatality to sell the damage being done internally. With that, Cyber Sub-Zero has been decommissioned. Now it's time to move on to the other Cyber Ninjas for the remainder of this ranking. Number 13. It's been quite some time since we've seen Smoke on this list, but here we are with his second cyberized finisher. With his first being bottom of the barrel, his second one is a major improvement, which takes a mix of the assassination approach with a dark twist. Coming in at the cursed 13 is Invisi-Strike. Of the hidden assassination finishers we've seen covered previously, I'd say this one is pretty mid-tier. Why this one ranks higher than the other reptile assassination finishers comes from its presentation. The opponent looks confused as each strike puts them into more pain until they just, well, lose their head. Honestly, I wish he'd reappear to do some action, as it's a bit awkward to not see Smoke perform any of the strikes. Overall, a middle-of-the-road finisher for all the cyborgs. Number 12. Let's focus on Mortal Kombat 3 to examine the second Cyrax finisher from this game. The Mortal Kombat series has always been cheeky with its references, ranging from movies like Big Trouble in Little China and Terminator, but one of the best references highlighted in the arcade trilogy comes from this fatality. Laughing our way into number 12 is Self-Destruct. As previously highlighted, what makes this stand out is the tribute to the Predator's infamous laugh and the massive explosion. Though I understand people are mixed on self-destruct finishers, myself included, I think this is the most impactful of all of them. It's a blast of a finisher. Number 11. After all this time, we're finally taking a look at one of the community's favorite newcomers to the series, Triborg. This cyber ninja consists of the cyber ninjas we all know and love, Cyrax, Sektor, and Smoke, and Sub-Zero. Yeah, I guess Quadborg isn't a money name, but this is a money finisher. Taking the 11th spot is Death Machine. With Triborg mixing all three of the main robots into one, so too did this finisher. Mixing elements like Cyrax's buzzsaw, Smoke's spear, and Sektor's compactor, which creates a gross object I'm certain the box ghost would appreciate. Though I find this to be quite innovative, it seems extremely cheesy and cartoony for the dark tone of Mortal Kombat X. Though it's still a solid finisher that I appreciate a ton. Like the compactor, let's press on to the top 10. Number 10. With the reinvented timeline of Mortal Kombat, we saw some characters get a second chance in the spotlight. Quite the biggest risk was turning Sub-Zero's protege into a new era cyber ninja, that being Frost. Originally a basic Lin Kuei student, but became cyberized for Kronika's new era. With her vengeance against Sub-Zero and to please her new master, she would recruit the new cyber Lin Kuei in a very unique and dark way. Cracking into the top 10 with the Cyber Initiative. And no, I don't mean the background track. Quite rarely do we see a finisher highlight the narrative of Mortal Kombat instead of sheer bloodshed. This highlights how the Lin Kuei are recruited as cyborgs. So essentially, I guess Frost is recruiting people and turning the cyber Lin Kuei into one giant pyramid scheme. Though this isn't as over the top as many MK11 finishers, I do appreciate the route of making a more narrative fatality that's fitting just to Frost. This comes off as a more fate worse than death, which is just, well, so cold. Number 9. Jumping back into the VGX best fighting game of 2011 with Mortal Kombat. This game has been praised for its return to 2D fighting and focusing on cinematic fatalities. With that, we have a fan favorite Sektor finisher on target for you. Shooting into number 9 is Robosec. Even though this finisher is one typo away from sounding like a dirty kink, it's a great fatality. Besides Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition on Game Boy Advanced, we finally get to see an awesome and unique rocket-based fatality for once. What makes this fatality so special is the cinematic timing and angles to sell every shot. Thank goodness the team managed to get this missile finisher right. If not, it would have been labeled as a projectile dysfunction. Number 8. While we're at it, let's stay on topic with one of the best Mortal Kombat games. From one greatly cinematic finisher to another, but switching out ketchup for a slice of mustard. Number 8 goes to Buzzkill. Where the last entry focused on multiple shots of multiple shots, this one implements a great use of slow motion to highlight the damage being done. Not going over the top with the 3 cuts and a kick. It's well paced and creative. Finishers like this are why MK 2011 were praised, and Buzzkill is a cut above many. Number 7. Time to round out Sektor's fatalities from his playable debut. Of all the adaptations of this finisher, this one comes out on top. Number 7 goes to the original Compactor fatality. In comparison to all the other adaptations of this finisher, I appreciate this one the most. Instead of an odd explosion from Mortal Kombat 4 or a weird fusion of 3 robots in Mortal Kombat X, this original one takes the cake by going for simplicity. When it comes to the compactors, nothing beats the classic. Number 6. With the first being a story-focused fatality, this second one gives Frost the opportunity to let it go like an Ice Queen. Drilling into the 6th spot is Ice Sculpture. With this readaptation of Frost taking advantage of ice drills and ice bombs, this led to a unique and creative finisher. Drilling the head to then eviscerate the opponent, followed by shoving an ice bomb into the ab cavity to lead to a great freeze frame. Quite literally. This ice explosion is extremely detailed and it looks so cool. With that, we close out Frost's temporary position as a Cyber Ninja. Now it's time to crack into the top 5 Cyber Ninja finishers. Which 3 characters remaining will be eliminated next and who will take the gold medal? Let's wrap this up and find out. Number 5. Kicking into the top 5 with the second to last finisher from Mortal Kombat 9. This title innovated on the presentation of the fatalities while highlighting what characters are capable of doing. With this, we were given quite the innovative and best Sektor fatality. Making its way into the top 5 is Scarecrow. I just think this one is great. Impaling the opponent with a weird spider device, the beeping growing louder as the opponent flips out, then to end it with a disturbing slow-mo shot. This one just highlights amazing finisher innovation. Like a Scarecrow, this one is just outstanding. And with that, Sektor's reign in the grouped ranking has come to an end. Number 4. Let's round out the entire PlayStation 2 catalog of finishers with Deadly Alliance. Many of these finishers from this title have been pretty underwhelming. However, this one is a standout for being one of the best in this entire game. Splattering into the 4th spot is Internal Grinder. I've stated what makes this one so special. Smashing the opponent to paint the floor, chewing them up and spitting them out, it's just extremely gross. Something I didn't highlight in this episode was the sound design when grinding down the opponent. It's just extremely gross, but it's great attention to detail. To use a quote by Nigel Thornberry, this one is quite smashing. Number 3. taking one last visit at not only Smoke, but Mortal Kombat 3 as a whole, with Smoke's first fatality being quite a bit of a dud and the second being mixed in its execution. This third one is a blast, and I mean that quite literally. Taking the bronze medal is World Destruction. I foreshadowed this in the Cyrax video and earlier in this video, and I just think it's a great one. With Mortal Kombat 3 taking its finishers to a weird and interesting approach, it only made sense to have one World Destruction fatality. With Smoke having his memory stripped away and being nothing but an emotionless killer, this makes sense as to why he would just take out everyone, including himself. It's a finisher that's the bomb.com. And just like that, Smoke is officially out of the ranking with 2 characters left and 2 placements. Who's gonna take the top spot? Take your bets now and let's find out. Number 2. Our runner-up comes from Cyrax and Mortal Kombat 9. Since the rebooted series, I've loved the robot finishers as they capture so much of their personality while feeling unique just to them. With that, we net ourselves a wonderful finisher from Cyrax.
Cyrax wins.
Taking the silver medal of all Cyber Ninja finishers is nothing but net. I don't want to repeat myself too much from the Cyrax ranking video, so I'll keep it short. This innovates in so many great ways, using the net as a finisher, the great 3x structure to a unique way to have the opponent get sliced to bits. This has to be one of the most innovative finishers I can think of, and that's what makes it take the silver medal. And with that, we've wrapped up all the Cyrax finishers. So, which Cyber Ninja finisher will take the top spot? Have you been paying attention? Let's assemble and get right to it. Number 1. After all of this time, we're closing out this list by looking at Mortal Kombat X. This set of characters were the most requested DLC characters to join Mortal Kombat X. With each variation capturing what made each Cyber Ninja amazing, so too did the number 1 fatality.
Triborg wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Rightfully deserving the gold medal is Triborg's teamwork. Talk about mixing each element to make something as amazing as possible. Triborg splits into 3 for an awesome team attack, or what I like to call a united fatality. Cyrax's buzzsaw for the neck slice, a harpoon taking the heart from Smoke, then to cap it all off with Sektor's rocket punch to leave it with an amazing evil laugh. For a character we probably won't see make a playable appearance ever again, we were lucky enough to get the best Cyber Ninja finisher. For capturing each element of the ninjas with great pacing and gore, makes this the number 1 Cyber Ninja finisher of all time. And there you have it, all 22 of the Cyber Ninja's fatalities ranked from worst to best. Which of these finishers was your favorite and which was your least favorite? Comment down below and I'll surely get back with you. Of all the lists I've done, this one was the hardest to put together. And a reminder that this is not the definitive list, it's just mine and I would love to hear yours. While we're at it, let's also respect each other's rankings too. I hope you're enjoying this series as much as I am. It's loads of fun creating all of this content for you. If you haven't done so, consider sharing this video with your friends, dropping a like, and subscribing. We're already 2/3 through the year and currently sitting at more than 18,200 subscribers. Firstly, thank you all so much for your support. This is a number I cannot believe I'm already at. Let's keep it rolling and let's get to 25,000 by the end of 2022. If we do that, we'll come up with a fun little challenge or thing I have to do in return. Also, I'll be uploading some new Mortal content throughout the rest of the year, which will consist of some rankings many of you have been requesting. Until then, come back August 1st for another character finisher ranking video. Don't forget the barbecue sauce and some seasoning for this smoke out. Until then, thank you all so much for your continuous support. My name is Nick, and stay blessed and have a smooth day.